The views expressed on the following program do not necessarily reflect those of WPSL. However, we are the ones who do indeed encourage you to like and share them on social media and with all your friends and neighbors, because it's time for Martin County Roofing and, of course, independent insurance agent Rudy Howard to present the African American scene here on WPSL with your host, the one and only Rudy Howard.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Always glad to be with you here on a Wednesday night. I have a guest coming. I've been promising you for a couple of weeks that we were going to talk about solar. And I got a guest coming so we can talk about solar.
Okay.
He's running a little late. So let me get this off my chest. I mean, with all the controversy now about the piece of correspondence that come forth from the Supreme Court that appears Roe v. Wade is going to be put to rest. Let me make my position clear about the Roe v. Wade. And I don't care what any pro-life person tells you. I don't know of anybody that's pro-abortion. I know nobody. I'm going to repeat, not one of my friends is pro-abortion. My friends are pro-choice. And there's a big difference, because people that are pro-life want to tell you that people are pro-abortion, and we're not pro-abortion, we're pro-life. I just think that is a choice, a personal choice, that a woman needs to make with her doctor. And here's the irony of the whole thing for me. Conservatives want government out of their business. They don't want government to have anything to say about what they do. They don't want government to control business, but they want government to control a woman's uterus. Okay, that makes a lot of sense to me. But let's just get that straight, and I'm going to tell you why I'm pretty firm about this. I think the biggest issue for me when it comes to this is that people are very concerned with saving the life of the unborn, but then after they're here, they don't want to do anything. I didn't realize, I saw something last night, something that George Carlin had done some time ago where he talked about the same thing. Talked about...
Good old George Carlin.
Yeah, he talked about the same exact thing. And you know, you don't want, and here's the thing. You don't want them to have health insurance, okay? You don't want to pay for preschool. And you don't care whether they have a roof over their head or not. But you want to save them. Save them for what? What are you saving them from?
Saving them so they can live in extreme poverty and be without most of their lives?
You're going to make a woman who knows that she cannot afford to have another baby. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But now there's pro-lifers out there. I expect you to call and say, you don't understand. Yes, I do understand. I'm not for killing innocent people. But I think there is a very substantial, as a parent who raised a young man, it is a very expensive proposition to raise a child properly. It costs money. It costs time. I was very fortunate in that I was self-employed, so there was a lot of time that I could spend with various and sundry activities at school where I could show up and be a parent that could participate. But it is time-consuming and costly. And to force someone to absorb that bill, and then you don't want to help, I would tell you quite frankly, and I've said this before, I could probably be convinced to be a pro-life person if the attitude was different about the children after they got here. It's the attitude that exists after they get here that I find deeply disturbing. So, if there was a difference in attitude about how children were treated after they got here, you might be able to convince me to be pro-life. But right now, that ain't going to happen because there's too much of a negative response to kids once they're born. And we have Sean on line one. Yes, Sean.
Hi, Rudy. I'm trying to remain calm here.
Okay.
Turn my radio down. Um, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was getting echo. I'm still getting echo. But anyway, the things you say sometimes, I love your show, but when you said conservatives don't want to do this and don't want to do that, don't lump all conservatives together like some conservatives lump all liberals together, okay?
Okay.
First off.
All right.
All right. Because, and I guess I'm more of a moderate or a libertarian, but whatever. All right. But here's my question to you. And this is a very tough issue for me because I'm both ways on it. All right. But
Me too.
tell me,
Mm-hmm.
you tell me when we should extend the right to a woman's body. All right. At what point should we let them terminate a pregnancy? If they're in labor, can you terminate the pregnancy?
No, I'd be against that.
All right, then is it going to be you or a group of people that think like you that determine at what week, what month, whatever, we determine when they can terminate that pregnancy?
I think they pretty much had it to where I think 26 weeks was the benchmark. After 26 weeks, you could no longer terminate the pregnancy.
What happens? What happens when science decides that that's wrong? First of all, we're talking about a subject that has nothing to do with the Supreme Court decision. The Supreme Court decision really does have to do with the fact that the Supreme Court is supposed to interpret the Constitution, and Roe v. Wade was a failed, no matter what you think one side or the other, it was a failed decision based on constitutional law. But that's beside the point. We've gotten right into the old debate, and I was so glad it went away so people can concentrate on other things that are important in government. But here we are again talking about the same things. It really scares me that we don't, as human beings, definitely support people to have a choice. When you talk about women's choice, what they would do if they had a pregnancy instead.
Okay.
Are you still there?
Yeah.
I totally agree with you, and it's not a conservative or a liberal thing. All right, it is a people thing.
Okay.
It is a child, and believe me, I worked at a place where I saw children that were born into, I'll say poor, whatever, families, that they would have been better off in an orphanage than with the mother they had, the single mother they had that was, smoking pot and drinking Heinekens at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, rather than taking care of their children. But I think that we should, as a nation, concentrate on that instead of whether a woman has a right to choose or not. All right? Late-term abortions, and by that I mean a month before a child was born, I had a friend that flew to Kansas and had an abortion. You know, the Dr. Death guy.
Yeah.
And was so upset when they killed him. And I thought, I never thought that this person could be that way. So cold towards, and maybe a lot of it has to do with I just had first of all, my son was born 3 weeks premature. He's like the biggest, healthiest guy you ever met at 35 years old. But my granddaughter was just born December 1st. And I have a picture of her at 2 days old smiling at me. I mean, and most people can't believe that that's a picture of her with a full head of hair. That girl was a human being 2 days before that. She was just inside somebody's body. So there's where I have the problem. Who decides what is viable? Should we depend on the science? Maybe Dr. Fauci can decide and then change his mind next week. I don't know. All I'm telling you is there is other avenues. Now, I agree. Leave incest and rape out of it, whatever. You got a child that is, has half a heart, and they know that at 4 weeks or missing both lungs or whatever the case may be, then we can all be in agreement on that. But the convenience of not using birth control, all right, not abstaining, and there are way too many people out there that use abortion as a convenience. I actually had a woman tell me one time, don't worry about it. If I get pregnant, as long as you pay half. And I said, I'm not having sex with you. You see, there's both sides of the story. It's not a woman's right to choose 100% if she chooses to be an idiot and not take precautions.
Well, let me just say this to you. There was nothing you said I disagree with, but I will say this. I remember college very vividly, and I can think of multiple occasions where my hormones were way ahead of my brain cells. Okay? And there's no question about that. And I know I was not by myself when I say that. My hormones was in control, and my common sense was out the window. Now, as I got older, as an older bachelor, I was a completely different thing. But when I was 18, 19, 20 years old, those hormones was just out of control. But let me share this with you, which I saw. And I sat in my house and I cried. They have adoption carnivals. You ever seen one of those?
Oh, yeah. Adoption what?
Adoption carnivals in West Palm Beach. I sat in my house and I cried.
I'm not familiar with the term adoption carnival.
The kids get dressed up. They're for adoption. And parents come through there like they're looking at puppies in a cage to decide whether or not they're going to take one of those kids.
Well, I know. It's the same thing. It's almost like, I understand what you're saying. It's almost like going to the pound.
Right, exactly.
And walk around, look for the best-looking cat or dog.
But you got to look at those kids after it's over with, and they don't get picked up. What do you think that does to them?
Let me ask you a question.
But no, wait a minute, though. Before we move on, before we move on to that, Sean, I just want you to tell me, what do you think that does to those kids that got all dressed up and was out in the playground, and parents was walking around looking at them? And,
I know.
Okay,
we should do away with it. Why not this? All right, and I know you're a semi-liberal guy. You have some good thoughts. You're more moderate than some of your comments come across. Why don't we agree on this? If you think, and I know you do, that government can supply health care for everybody, all right, what did we do with, and this is going to sound like a terrible word because everybody thinks of orphan Annie, what did we do with orphanages? All right? Why don't we have those? Why don't we have that as an option where this child can go get 3 square meals a day, a clean place to sleep, and an education so that they're not in the cycle, all right? So if they have, instead of, and then they can still be adopted from there, the foster care system is screwed up too, all right?
Well, they went from
I have personal
orphanages. They went
experience
from
with that.
orphanages to foster care so people could get some money for doing it.
Oh, I know. Believe me. A kid played football with my son, and I gave him a ride home one night. They wouldn't open the door because they were in a prayer meeting, and he was a foster kid. And I said, they're opening that door. He got home late, and I banged on the door until they answered it. And I said, I'm going to the county tomorrow, and I'm going to have you revoked because this is not the reason that you're in foster care, you Christian person. All right? So there is, of course, there's lapses and everything, but we don't have to have kids scrubbing the floor with a scrub brush anymore. I went to a seminary when I was a kid, all right? And I'm not a religious person now. But the structure that was in that seminary with the education, the love that was there, it was clean. It taught you a life, okay? That can be done. We can do those things. And those are the things you were talking about before with conservatives that won't support, all right?
Right.
They do. They need a leader that can say, I don't care whether it's a Democrat or a Republican or a Libertarian, whoever, that can say this should be the agenda. This should be the agenda for our nation to care about each other and stop wasting money elsewhere on other things. And if I came to you, I'll guarantee you, if I came to you one day and said, hey, Rudy, I haven't eaten in a week. Can you buy me a meal? You'd buy me a meal, and I'd do the same for you, all right? If you knew me and you knew I was lying, you wouldn't buy me a meal, all right? And I wouldn't buy you a meal if I knew you were lying and you were just a grifter, okay? But the truth is people do care about people. They just need a leader that will show them. So immediately after this little thing got leaked, all right, everybody starts playing politics that are the leaders. You and I are talking about the real things, but they refuse to, all right? And it just absolutely, it tears my heart with this. And I know it does with yours too, all right? I absolutely believe in I'm not going to be able to say the word right, euthanization. That's the other thing that killed me, all right? You're 98 years old, you got diabetes, you can't walk anymore. Why can't I be put to sleep? But yet we can kill babies, all right? And the most radical want to be able to do it after birth. There are people out there with the thoughts of post-birth abortion.
Well,
sorry.
That's beyond the pale for sure.
But there are people out there that will tell you. And it's the same thing as aborting a fetus and I don't know where life begins. I do know when there's a heartbeat that you shouldn't abort a baby, you know? They're sucking their thumbs in the womb there. And I'm sorry. And I know plenty of women that have had abortions, and a lot of them regretted it afterwards because they were in a place in their life. So you and I can agree, let's take them out of that place in their life before and show them a way after if they get pregnant. If your hormones are running strong, first of all, somebody should have knocked you upside your head when you were in college and told you to, rap the rascal. You're not that old, and there was other things running around that you should have been protecting yourself from. But
Sean, I got to let you go because my guest came.
Right.
My guest just showed up. We're going to take a little break.
All right.
We're going to take a little break, and when we come back, we're going to switch gears, and we're going to start talking about solar. How you like that for a change of pace?
Ooh, I like that.
From abortion to solar. But don't touch that dial because we're going to be right back with the African American scene.
Perhaps we'll see the light, Rudy.
Yes.
Solar energy. We'll be right back.
within decades.
Hi, this is Joanne from Nutrition World and Wellness Center. I am really excited to introduce new guests and topics to my show every Thursday morning at 10 a.m. here on WPSL, where my listeners can call in on any topic. If I don't know the answer, I'll try to find it. We want to help you become the best version of yourself. We will have chiropractors, naturopaths, coaches, and of course, Dr. Ravi will be on every month as usual. I am looking forward to sharing my 30 years of experience with my listeners so we can enjoy this life journey together.
Visit Joanne's Nutrition World in the Kras Square, formerly known as the Arcade Building, located at US 1 and Orange Avenue, across from Fort Pierce City Hall. Open Monday through Friday from 10 to 4, Saturdays 10 to 3. Taking appointments for the Wellness Center online at joannesnutritionworld.com or call 772-464-3598.
Hi, this is Rudy Howard, your independent insurance agent. I now specialize in Medicare, health insurance, and small group insurance. That number is 475-8856. Same great service, more flexible hours. Just give me a call, 475-8856.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
We now return you to the African American scene once again. Here's your host, Rudy Howard.
And as I said, we're going to switch gears and we're going to go with Roy DeGenis, is it?
It's pronounced DeGanis.
DeGanis,
yeah.
Okay. Roy is with Solar Energy Loan Fund, and Roy happens to have done business with Martin County Roofing, who is part of my is one of my sponsors here.
Yes.
So that's kind of cool.
Sponsor team.
Good guy. Great company.
So, Roy, I have been promising my audience for a couple of weeks that we were going to talk about solar, and I know at least one of my listeners was in the process of considering solar. So, some of the ins and outs to consider and from what you see. Well, first, I'm going to ask you to describe what it is that you do with Solar Energy Loan Fund.
Great question. Thank you for asking. Thank you for having us, again here. It's always a pleasure to be here with you, Rudy. And the audience as well to get information out. But I'm the loan officer and project manager with SELF, a home improvement finance program. And we're a micro lending organization that provide small loans for homeowners to do necessary improvements that would help with energy efficiency, wind resilience, water conservation, as well as aging in the home and products to help homeowners as they adjust in their homes and to make them more resilient. And so we've been doing that now since 2011, and we've done over $20 million in home improvement retrofits throughout the state of Florida and a couple other states, as well as here in St. Lucie County. We've done over.
Tell my audience what a retrofit is.
It's basically doing some type of updating of your home. So if you had some older utilities as far as air conditions, windows, doors. A lot of people have those old vanity windows, so they replace those with updated windows and ACs and doors and stuff.
So you do the hurricane-proof windows type things too?
Yeah, definitely. That helps with insurance. It cost factors. It depends on what the homeowners want. We do all windows. The EV windows are pretty good. They're energy efficient windows that they have, but and they're not so expensive. But the impact windows is what has been helping people reduce their insurance costs. Because they're more they're more resilient to hurricanes, to protect the home against hurricanes. And so a lot of people have been going in that direction because it's a lot easier for them to to not have to put up those shutters every time they feel the storm is coming. Right?
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
But one of the things that Doug and I, Doug's his boss, that I talked about was about the termination plan that they were trying to put in place as far as long-term credit for solar. What exactly is that again?
Well, the federal government came up with an incentive to help homeowners to switch over to solar energy, more of a green technology. In the years past, when they realized the cost of energy just kept rising and rising every year, and it was a real problem, especially in the winter time and the infrastructure up in the north with all the bad weather and stuff. So they was trying to get homeowners to adjust and to go into the future of energy, and so they put incentives out to incentivize these homeowners to do it. And one of the incentives was net metering, allowing the homeowners to take advantage of the solar and sell it back to the power company. And then the other one was the rebates. They had some federal tax credits as well as rebates from certain power companies to add to that incentive for homeowners to go green, and that's what that is.
So let me explore that again. The net metering, that was the one that was a big issue hanging on the table, and DeSantis did deny that, but FP&L was trying to get that. Explain to my audience what would have happened if they had approved. Now, I got to say this, too. Let me give the devil his due. I probably have disagreed with 9 out of 10 things DeSantis has done, but this is one thing that he's done that I agree with. You want to explain to people what it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's been a fight against solar from the beginning. All way of things. Big oil, and a lot of those they don't want to see the change, obviously, because it affects the profit margins, like taking food off the shelf and adding another product and so a lot of those guys don't really want that. So they've been fighting against solar in all kind of different ways, trying to get the incentives knocked off. They've been attacking them all, but it was kind of surprising to me that this one was able to be attacked the way it was, and that's the net metering process. What that means is that if you own a product, you have to be, by Florida law, you have to be tied to the grid. It means you have to be connected to FPL service. And so what happens is that when you're connected to FPL service, when you run your solar, power goes back into the grid. It goes back to FPL. Now FPL takes that and they actually sell it to your neighbors. They allow your neighbors to take advantage of that solar. So what net metering does, it requires the power company to pay you for the power that your solar panels produce, during the day when it's running. And so the goal was to get rid of that incentive and make it where homeowners, didn't get that. They didn't get that advantage. So they took that away from them, and well, they were trying to take that away from them, and that's what DeSantis actually was able to veto, which you said was a great thing he did.
Okay.
Yeah, my daughter's making her.
We have another guest here.
Yeah,
Roy's daughter is here, and she's as cute as she can be, and she's very fascinated with the microphone. So, do you want to say hello to everybody?
There's a lot of people say hello.
You want to say?
Oh, she's shy
now she's going to be shy now. Okay.
Say hello.
Okay, so one of the things, well, first off, what kind of people contact you for loan support?
We actually work with, anybody that's a homeowner. Homeowners is who we work with, but typically in our arena, most of the homeowners we work with are low, moderate income. So what happens is that they cannot really go to a conventional bank and gain access to funds because they might have credit issues or their income might be low, what have you, and so they have no other options. So we're able to provide them with loans for basically as low as 5% unsecured. So I mean, these are good interest rates. They don't have to have the best credit. All right, Rayleigh, that's good. They don't have to have the best credit, and so typically our is low, moderate income, and 40% of our homeowners are seniors. So a lot of seniors, we help a lot of seniors as well.
So, what about first-time home buyers? We got to get a handle on that.
Oh yeah, yep, absolutely. We run into what I realized we help a lot of first-time home buyers with is in my case too. When I first bought my house, anytime you don't buy a brand new house that's been built from the ground up, a lot of times you have repairs that need to be done. You got repairs that need to be done. So what happens is you gotta go. Come on. Sorry. Come on. There you go. Take Daddy's phone. Go sit down up right there.
It's that.
Yeah, well, I would think with the insurance companies now making heavy-duty demands for roofs, you might be really doing quite a bit of roof work.
Actually, what the biggest thing with the woodwork is the fact that is that a lot of insurance companies are coming after homeowners for, if their roofs are too old. Right now, we're seeing like really about 15 years old is usually where they're starting to either tell you that your insurance is either going to be, not going to be renewed, or if you don't have homeowner insurance and you're trying to get homeowner insurance, they'll tell you that you have to have a new roof before they'll insure you.
Yeah.
So that's what we're getting a ton of that. That seems like I get 1 or 2 a day now. That's like that. So you definitely got to watch out for that.
Yeah, and so you're able to get financing for those people, huh?
Absolutely. Again, we're easy loan. So we basically have 2 programs. We have one which is called PACE for St. Lucie County residents. PACE is basically a property assessment program that's through St. Lucie County, but we administer it for them. And what that does, it takes a percentage of the equity in the property and allows you to take a percentage of that equity and tack it on to your your home improvement onto your property tax as an assessment, just like you would pay ad valorem tax.
Oh,
yep.
okay.
Like
So you actually can spread that loan out on part of your property taxes.
Correct. Over 20 years, so it makes it affordable for most people, especially if you're low income to afford it.
Yeah. So what's the criteria to be eligible for PACE?
Just have the equity in the property based on the just value of the property. So you'd have to go to the property appraiser's website, pull up your property, and then you look for market just value, and then you see how much equity you have in that. They give you 20% of that net equity to use against a loan. So if you got $50,000, then you have $20,000, of net equity to be able to use towards your home improvement. And so the only other criteria is that you have to have your taxes had to be paid current for the previous 3 years. So you can't have a late payment within the last 3 years on your property tax, right? And you have to have the equity based on the market just value. And then we actually implemented another process to kind of help, because in the West Coast they've had a lot of homeowners sue for PACE, because a lot of times some of the contractors have tried to basically have homeowners do more than they need to do as far as their improvements go, because they have the equity.
Yeah.
So they've been making them, do bigger projects, which a lot of homeowners really couldn't afford, and was causing them to, because, with PACE you can get a lien put against your property if you don't pay your property tax. That's one law that we all have to remember, right? So we basically implemented ability to pay, so that way we make sure the client has the ability to pay that PACE loan, so that there's no issue there.
Okay. And the other plan is
we do a regular personal installment loan. It's basically a month-to-month regular personal loan for the improvement. And so we have special programs for veterans, for women, and folks who are disabled. So we're able to get a rate between 5% and 10% unsecured. And this loan is predicated on your ability to pay in your most recent payment history. So it doesn't have anything to do with equity, because we don't put a lien against the property. So there's nothing attached to the property. So the property doesn't, it's a quick, easy loan, and we don't need appraisals or nothing like that. Just ability to pay.
So if you're a disabled vet, or you have a disabled veteran rating, Does that help you with that?
Yeah, what happens is we partner up with other nonprofits. So again, because we don't go by credit score, so a lot of times when you go to a bank, they would look at your credit score and then tell you what your interest rate is. In our case, we do was basically based on your, like I said again, your ability to pay and your most recent payment history is what we're looking at. We're not looking at your credit score. So the way we're able to administer the interest rates is based on what program that we can administer for you. And one of our programs is called Kiva. It's a crowdfunding source that we use to raise funds to help homeowners to gain access to the funds, and it's for veterans and it's for women. So with Kiva, we can get a homeowner a 5% interest unsecured loan for 5 years, no matter what their credit score is, through getting funded through Kiva. We have a Halo program, which is for disabled veterans that we can administer, so we can get that veteran a 7.5% interest rate for any improvement that he needs done on his home, just because he's a disabled vet, I need to say. So we have those different programs that we're able to kind of put those homeowners into and keep them at a good interest rate for a long term and keep their payments very low.
And Deb told me you guys are doing quite a bit of an expansion. Where are you at now?
Oh, well, I can't remember now. It's like we're everywhere, so which is good. We're opened up Georgia, so we're in Atlanta, Georgia. We've been in Alabama for a while, so we're in Alabama. We're also in South Carolina, and also Tennessee. Just opened up. We partnered with another organization up there. It's a great organization called Seed, and they're helping in low, moderate income, communities, and they seen what Self was doing, and they know that that's a need in their community. So they actually contacted us and was like, we love what you guys are doing. We'd like to work with you guys and bring Self into this part of Tennessee. And so all the southern states, you could say, the 5 southern states, Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama, and Tennessee.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, it's going great.
Little over Port St. Lucie, a little St. Lucie County, and we all over the place now.
Absolutely. I always told Doug, the Heightenson, I don't know if I'm saying that right, how it just kind of, you don't see it, and then all of a sudden it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? And that's kind of what we did. It started small, and it's just slowly, because actually last year our CFO spoke on Duan Andrade. She spoke at DC for the for the Green Banks Association with Congress, in front of Congress. So Self has got an opportunity they like what we're doing, so they wanted to know how Self works, how does it help, and how can they implement it in all over the country. So it's something that people are really starting to see and understand that it's important for our communities to have.
Fantastic. So if somebody wanted to get solar, what would be your recommendation?
Oh, I would recommend that they get right on it. If you're a homeowner, solar is a great tool to invest in, to save even now, but even over the long run. I would just recommend that you what we do a lot of times is we have contractors that are within our network, so you can always call us if you need a contractor that you don't know any contractors out there. Self program, we actually vet contractors when we bring them in. We check their license, their insurance. We make sure that they have a good track record, and then we bring them on. So we recommend the clients to just kind of reach out to some solar contractors. Locally is great. Local contractors, you bring them in, have them give you an evaluation. Because every home is different. Have them customize a system for your home, so you know exactly what it's going to cost you, and that's a great way to start. But also make sure that your home is in good shape. Because what I found too is a lot of times, some of the older homes that are built a long time ago, a lot of times they have thinner walls. They have a lot less sturdiness to them, so they're a little less efficient. So a lot of times with those, you want to make sure you seal up those areas first, and then put solar on your house. But it's definitely right now, the way things are, is the best way to go if you're going to be in your home for a little while. You can invest in your nest because your value is going to go up. it's going to increase in value, and so it's a win-win, situation for everybody. It's a win-win-win situation for the environment as well.
So, question. So if, for example, I was interested in doing it, I would contact you. You would put me in touch with a solar contractor.
Correct.
They'd give me a cost, and then you guys would prepare the documents for the loan?
Correct. Absolutely. We would do all that. We manage the project, make sure there's no, make sure the project gets done. So what we would do is, you'd get your quotes. We would obviously help you go over it if you want to go over them with you. You pick the contractor that you would like to do the project with, and we would actually reach out to that contractor, send them what's called a notice to proceed. Then they will come out and they would actually do all the work for you. And once it's done and inspections are passed, we review that. They send them into us, and then we do a survey. We do a survey with you to make sure your experience was good. And throughout the process, too, we let you know if there's any issues to reach out to us so we can take care of it right away. But then and then once it comes back, we notify you, and then you say, oh, everything's great, it's installed, it's working, and then we pay the contractor. So it's keeps everybody honest. It helps the work get done quicker because the contractor wants to get paid, and then the homeowner doesn't feel like that they're left out there, in case they have a problem because the contractor's already been paid, and so they don't want to come back, right? So that's something that you have a lot. And just so you know, we have a summer special that's going on right now. We have, up to $30,000 for solar. Rates are as low as 6% unsecured. And so, like I said, no liens against the property. That's a great opportunity to get solar.
So how many years is the term for that?
The term is up to 15 years, which is a pretty good term nowadays because most banks, they're trying to do 12. They try to stick in because they want to, get their return back pretty quickly, especially on an unsecured loan. A lot of times you're looking at that 10 to 12 year term, but with self, we're able to stretch it out a little longer.
Well, a lot of them call up and they say there's no money down. So is there money down with self?
There's no money down. Typically, we do what's called a collateral on the panels, so that way the panels, if there's anything that you don't pay, we can actually take the panels back because they're not connected to the property. It's basically an unsecured loan, so we secure it with the panels, so that avoids us having to use any collateral. But in some cases with roofs, because there's no security on those, and obviously you can't take a roof back, so they would actually put a small collateral of up to 20% of the total project cost up front. But that's a really low case, but it happens sometimes.
Well, compare that to the deal that FP&L is offering right now. FP&L offering a deal. You can get your solar from them. You familiar with that?
Yeah, I've heard stuff about that. They've been doing that for a little while. The biggest thing for them is their goal is to obviously to maximize as much as they can from solar, on their end, because they know if the homeowner goes solar on their own, then obviously it's cutting them out. So from what I've heard a lot, I don't know a big deal on that, but a lot of those have stipulations in those where, it takes you a little bit longer to own the panels, things like that may not be, it may be easier for you to purchase them yourself. And there's a couple different programs they have. They have where you can actually lease them, or you can buy them, or there's a lot of different FPL does have a lot of different programs, but again, I've always seen it's been cheaper to just buy the panels yourself.
So you got the special going on right now. Till when?
It's for the whole summer, so we probably have it going on until September. But I'm not sure right now. As of right now, it's for the summer. So summer's just getting started. So we're just, we're excited that we have a little time on it. So we got, right now, it's come in as fast as you can,
Okay. So if people want to get in touch with you to get some information, who should they call and how should they go about it? Is there a website?
Absolutely. I definitely also want to thank Rudy. You've always been a champion of the SELF program, from the beginning since I've, been with the SELF program, and that's been over 6 years. I know you've known Doug way longer than that. and you know the vision of the program, and you've been a part of it, and you understand the value. So I really want to thank you. And I know you've had me on the show countless times to get the word out, and I know you get the word out all the time about what we're doing. So I want to thank you for that. The way you can reach us is we can, first of all, our website is anywhere is www.solarenergyloanfund.org. So that's www.solarenergyloanfund.org. And the phone number at the main office is 772-468-1818. And you can dial whoever you want to reach. My extension is 1205. My name is Rudy. I'm the Treasure Coast Loan Officer and Program Manager here at SELF. And so, and that's how you can reach us. And then, obviously, email info@solarenergyloanfund.org.
Okay, that's he will put when Cliff
Yes.
when Cliff hangs the video afterwards, he's going to show your phone number and your
Website address.
website address.
We'll put it in the titles. Yeah.
It'll be on there.
They'll be able to get direct information to get solar installed at their house, at their home, for the homeowners, just by watching the archive of this show. We'll have it up on YouTube probably within 24 hours. All right.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, and also just so everyone knows, because SELF also work with mobile homeowners. So if you're a mobile homeowner and need roofs, windows, doors, or anything like that, we can help you.
Okay.
That's awesome. Now, I got to tell you, I know for a fact there's people listening to me right now who are saying that they need a roof. So they can get in touch with you and see about getting a roof. I think my son, who just got his house, is going to be needing a roof soon. And I told him about you guys coming on tonight. So.
Oh, beautiful. Well, definitely, we want to help your son get his roof, and because obviously you being a fan of the program, I know you spreading the word. So we want to help him out as much as we, as fast as we can. Whenever he's ready, we're ready to help him, and and everyone else that's out there that needs Solar Energy Loan Fund, we're here for them as well. So definitely have them give me a call. You can give my cell phone directly, and I'll be more than happy to help them.
Yeah, please. And if for some reason you forget to call his number, you can call here and get with me, and I will direct you to SELF so you can speak to them. It would be worth your while, and I know for sure there's many of you out there right now struggling with this roof thing because the insurance companies are just not renewing people and demanding new roofs, or they won't do the insurance.
Then again, though, folks are now being able to hook in to solar energy, which will actually pay them for the energy that they don't use.
Yes.
Because it goes back to FPL or whatever the utility company is. And they send you a payment every month. Wow, that's kind of cool because we've always made our light bill payments on time. But, this is great. Another incentive.
I think I have been getting hammered with calls, and I think it's because there's like 3 houses on my street that have solar.
Oh.
So I think they go through and they look and they see the house to the left of me, to the right of me has solar, and then the house across the street has solar, and the house down the street has solar, and we're in a situation where we get a lot of sun.
Well, are the yards cluttered with solar panels? I mean,
no, they're on the roof.
They look really nice up there then.
Yeah, there's the one person across the street. He has his solar panels in the backyard, but the rest of my neighbors who have solar have them on the roof.
I saw an FPL ad, and there were acres and acres of solar panels on the ground.
Yes, they have them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Blanketed out like that.
Yeah, they're powering a lot of houses with that.
I just
too.
wondered, do we have to have big yards to have solar energy? And
No,
probably
but
not
they
necessarily.
no, but like he said, I got one neighbor. He has his on the ground in the back of the house.
Yeah.
The rest of my neighbors, they have the panels on the roof. And I was just saying, when you weren't in here, they're calling me like crazy about solar. And I think it's because they see the other houses in my neighborhood.
It's crazy now. Like people, I remember when I first got into solar energy back in 2009. I mean, people like laughed at you. Like when you told about solar, they got mad at you. They was like, I'm not getting no solar panels. And then it's like overnight, it's like everybody see now, they're like so excited. Like, look, I got solar panels. They're so excited now. It's like, wow, okay, great. It's good to see because we've been trying to tell you this since 2009.
Then all they need to do is buy a Tesla.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
To be honest with you, if you go back, I tried to do this a couple of weeks ago. If you go back and look at what Jimmy Carter was trying to do in the 80s, he was telling us back in the 80s that we need to go solar.
He put solar panels on the White House.
He did.
That's right.
He put solar panels on the White House.
And they still there
And
today.
Ronald Reagan took them down.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
They got solar panels now.
And
They
that's
do,
why
they
we
put it
have
back
such
up
a
there.
They got
big
solar panels
rift
on the White House.
between the Republicans and the liberals now is because of that.
Yeah,
exactly.
but I got to tell you truthfully, I have held off and held off and held off. Matter of fact, I've gotten actually mad at them. They call me so much now. But I'm going to have to, contact you and see about getting somebody out to take a look.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially since you got this deal on, and I got a relatively new metal roof.
Oh yeah, so you're perfect.
Perfect. I'm perfect.
You're
Yeah,
perfect.
I know. Yeah.
Perfect example. Like I said, it's only going to increase over the time because the cost of energy is not going anywhere.
You're not at all. Not at all.
So every year it's going to be better and better and better.
Yeah. It's interesting. Just like I predicted here last year this time that I thought by 2030 we were going to be mostly electric cars.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's going to happen a lot sooner than that.
I
think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen a lot sooner than that,
It's
Cliff.
in process now.
Yeah,
The future is here.
Yes,
They are.
yes. My next car is going to be a hybrid or electric car. I know that.
I got one out there now. Folks, I'd like to thank you for listening to the African American Scene. And listen, if you need information on a roof or solar, please get in touch with me, and I will make sure that you get directed to self and get some help. I'd like to thank you. God bless. Be safe, and I will see you next Wednesday right here for the African American Scene.
Wednesdays in the 6 p.m. hour on WPSL, the African American Scene with Rudy Howard, presented by Martin County Roofing and independent insurance agent Rudy Howard. And this is WPSL, Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast, webcaster to the world on Google Home, Alexa, and of course the TuneIn app on your smartphone.